Welcome to the Backdoor Fantasy Sports Podcast with Russo and Jordy.
All right, guys, week 7 is in the books, and it got a little gruesome at the end there. Got a lot of injuries to talk about, and the waiver wire, there's quite a bit going on there. Sleeper trending is just popping off. We're going to break it all down for you. We're going to go through the entire Sunday slate and the Monday games as well. Before we do, though, we just want to tell you about what's going on over at Underdog. It's Boost-tober. So what they're doing since NBA starts today, they are running boosts every day for all sports. So they're dropping all different kinds of basically you add a boost token to any slip you're making. They're dropping one of those once a day. But for NBA right now, they're going to be giving you unlimited boost tokens for all of your NBA only slips. So if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, use code Backdoor. They're going to give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick to help you cash your first slip. Just use code Backdoor. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check that out. And yeah, I mean, like, let's just dive into this recap. We'll talk about the injuries along the way. So yeah, we'll start with Lions versus the Vikings. You called this one. I thought the Vikings were going to get this done, and
it was close.
It was looking like that in the first quarter, and then it was looking the opposite in the second quarter. Like, just a pretty wild.
Yeah, that ending was crazy though. That was
And what were you gonna say?
I said that was just pretty, crazy for them to come out and finish that game off. Jared Goff is just insane. I mean, 22 for 25, or 22 of 25, 22 completion of 25 attempts, 280 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Like, dude is just freaking lights out.
Yeah, man. David Montgomery, unfortunate situation. I mean, with everything that's happened with injuries, at least Montgomery is okay, but he was just having a little bit of a tough time getting things going. And then he gets injured and we're all worried. He leaves the game briefly, comes back, fumbles the ball. So unfortunate situation. And Jahmyr Gibbs went nuts, 15 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and 4 receptions for 44 yards. So, I mean, gosh, Gibbs, I think it's starting to be that time of year where he starts really turning things up like he did last year.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. The dude doesn't need a lot of opportunities.
No,
15
he looks
carries.
bursty.
Yeah, it's 7.7 yards per carry. On top of 4 catches for 44 receiving yards. But I mean, nothing else has changed. Justin Jefferson still goes off against the Lions. That's pretty wild. 7 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. Could have been, I mean, what was like the last time they played each other, he had like 12 catches for 190 some yards and like 3 touchdowns or something. It was ridiculous. But yeah, it was a great game. Probably one of the better games on, for the Sunday slate.
Yeah, man. And Aaron Jones looked great. That was the thing I wasn't really expecting against this Lions defense. And I was just kind of like, we're sort of, you never know with Aaron Jones, like questionable. He's often like has that questionable tag, but came out and looked great right away. 14 carries, 93 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
I was hoping for more from Jordan Addison. He looked good, but just 3 receptions for 66 yards. That's solid. 22 yards a reception. I just really wanted to see him get more involved. But I think that, the way I was picturing it was I wasn't expecting Aaron Jones to be this efficient on the ground against the Lions. But we talked about Aiden Hutchinson being out. We'll see how different things look. But still, Jones was not on my radar just based off of that. And I thought, potentially be a lot more of a passing attack. So 27 attempts. I was expecting him to be in the 30s for this one. But Aaron Jones, a lot of these vets are just delivering when we were sort of like, giving him a question mark or maybe even just completely writing him off. I wasn't writing Aaron Jones off, but I was not high on him this year, and
Yeah.
he's looked good. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, Lions end up getting it done, and they take over their division, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, we've got this layout's a little bit different than I'm used to. We'll go down. We'll go Dolphins, Colts. The Dolphins, bro. I am so frustrated. I do not understand this. Like, does Mike McDaniel need me to get in there and start calling plays? Because
Maybe.
like,
It might look better because, my goodness.
Who is this clone of Mike McDaniel? Like, the play calling, this is not the real guy. I don't understand how there's all this talk. You're coming off a bye week. Huntley has a little bit more time. And I know like Huntley left the game and Tim Boyle took over. I don't care who's back there. You've got what did Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, what did they combine for? Like 3 targets, I believe.
Tyreek had 1 reception for 8 yards. So
yeah, and then and Jalen Waddle 1 for 11 yards. And they're sitting there like throwing the ball to Alec Ingold and Jonnu Smith, 7 receptions, 96 yards and a touchdown. Cool. Like, but how in this matchup against the Colts defense do you not have a way to get the ball in the hands of Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle? I just don't understand it. Devon Achane, 2 receptions. So he had the same amount of receptions as Tyreek and Waddle both. And I'm not opposed to Achane catching the ball. I just do not understand what's going on in Miami. And I'm not like, I'm excited that Tua has a chance to be back in week 8, but I don't know what that means right now. Like the play calling has been absolutely atrocious in my opinion. Like I
think we were all a little too high on Mike to begin with. You know, you look at, I mean, what was their record last year? They were solid last year, but it's just super. I don't know how you flip the script so hard when you have almost the same exact team, minus obviously Tua, but it doesn't make much sense to me. I'm not sure where the confidence went, where the identity went, where the spicy play calling went. It's just so flat and it looks so bush league. Like there's nothing about this offense that makes any sense. They're not getting any of their guys involved other than like, Achane. But it's just I don't know. Mike McDaniel's going to be on the hot seat soon if he doesn't figure this thing out. If not already.
I just don't understand it because it's not even like, what I'm seeing is not even like, oh, they figured out how to stop Mike McDaniel's offense. It doesn't look like the same offense. Like if he was trying to execute the same way that he was last year, and teams were stopping him, that's one thing. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing Waddle and Hill combined for 2 receptions. Like that's not teams just figuring out a way to shut them down. Like I'm frustrated because I started Hill, so obviously there's that. But this has been so bad that I don't know that I can even start Hill into his return. Like I think he's like on the bench until I see something. Obviously it depends on what your team looks like for fantasy, but in my case, I have JSN, Jordan Addison, Jaden Reed. Like I think I'm more comfortable just rolling the dice with them until I don't even know what this offense is going to look like with Tua back. So anyways, we can move on. They end up losing, going to 2-4. So, I mean, before we go, we should talk about Indianapolis a little bit, I guess. Anthony Richardson, 10 of 24, 129 yards, no touchdowns, not looking good. 14 carries at least for 56 yards. I was nervous about this. My gut was saying start Tyler Goodson. and all the hype was coming in about Trey Sermon. Our Discord was popping off with guys that were leaning Sermon, and a bunch of people, were talking about Sermon, and he did not look as good as Tyler Goodson last week. And I had Tyler Goodson in my starting lineup because I have JT. So JT's out. I had Tyler Goodson all the way up till the end, and I was talking with Guru, one of our guys in Discord, who was in the same situation. He was rolling Sermon. He went on Roto Wire. He's like, Roto Wire saying to start Sermon. So I'm like, all right, man, I'll start Sermon. 8 carries, 36 yards. Goodson, 14 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. So Goodson didn't even go that crazy, 3.6 yards per carry, but he got all of the touches, 14. And then I was getting I was tilting a little bit when after I had come to terms with the fact that I sat Trey Sermon against my gut and started Tyler Goodson. But when I saw Tyler getting the goal line carries, I'm like, what did I do? But
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I would have done the same thing. I mean, I'd even talked about it. I think I made Trey Sermon one of my starts of the week. So it's like, it
was a backup start of the week. It was but your actual start of the week played great.
Yeah. Tank. But yeah, we should probably cover that game too. I forgot that was the early game. But the Trey Sermon thing just, that was pretty surprising. I mean, Tyler Goodson does look like the better back, obviously. I mean, we even talked about that in the last episode, but it was like, who is going to get the goal line looks? I never expected it to be Tyler Goodson. I mean, Trey Sermon just must not be panning out, because not only could he not find work before this, but now it's like you're getting eclipsed by a guy who's way smaller than you for goal line work. So I don't even know where you find a niche for your career if you can't get goal line looks either.
Yeah, and this has been happening every new team he's on.
Yeah.
But anyways, we can keep rolling here. Anthony Richardson, not looking good so far. They've got to figure something out. I don't think just getting JT back is going to be the difference maker. It'll help, but Richardson has a lot of developing to do, is what it's looking like to me. So if you can, I've got Anthony Richardson in my Dynasty League. I was just so hoping for a second year breakout for him. Maybe we see that. Maybe something starts to click a little bit later, but I have Baker Mayfield as well. And in my situation, I'm very happy. I'm very comfortable starting Baker every week. So I'm like, Richardson is just on my bench until I see a little bit of consistency here. I am happy that he ran the ball so many times. That's great for fantasy, but yeah, it's unfortunate, especially when you see situations like Jaden Daniels, who is just looking amazing.
I'm starting to wonder if it's a good coaching fit for Richardson, because Flacco looks great. I think Flacco's just that good, but I don't know if the coach knows how to utilize Richardson's package. That sounded horrible, but I don't know if he knows how to utilize like his skill set in a way where it's productive for the team, because Flacco comes out there and they just have a pretty vanilla offense, but it looks great because they're
moving the ball nonstop.
Yeah, the ball is constantly in the air or on the ground, and they're just always getting yardage somewhere. But with Richardson, it's like if you just stop the RPO, it's like he's not going to be able to throw very much on his. I don't know. It's very awkward.
I mean, they won the game, so like Richardson did not get in the end zone or anything. So, but it's like the difference is, I think it is more of a Richardson thing personally, because when his accuracy was a little bit better, when he was showing flashes like his rookie year, it was a great fit with Shane Steichen. But the difference was, I mean, he went 10 for 24, so that's a terrible performance. But as far as utilizing him, he gave him 14 carries. But I mean, they won this game. We'll see. I think Richardson just needs to keep developing his pass game, get more accurate. He needs to be faster with his reads. Like Flacco's just, so beyond him at this point, being like such a seasoned vet, who's been all the way to the top.
Absolutely.
And Flacco was doing that in Cleveland last year too. So I'm not like giving up on Richardson. I'm still like really excited at the prospect. It's just like, this is going to be a learning curve. This is going to be a bumpy road while he just grows as a quarterback, because we've talked about it all season, but he hasn't had that many games as a starter. That's just the reality of it.
For sure.
So he needs reps. And honestly, I wouldn't even be upset if they end up just saying like, okay, Flacco's going to start. We're going to have Richardson like play behind him this year, because I think it's really good for he's not a rookie anymore, but for young quarterbacks to be able to actually play behind a vet and really get to learn from them.
For sure.
So we'll see.
Let's talk about why you should be using Chalkboard, the daily fantasy platform that runs specials every day of the week. Build plays for as low as $1 and enjoy the wide variety of alt lines. The higher the line, the higher the payout. It's that simple. Once you've made your picks, you can go whole hog with their max cash option or insure yourself with their shield play option. Download Chalkboard on your Apple or Android device and use code Backdoor for a 100% deposit match.
All right, let's move on from this disgusting game. Don't need to talk about that anymore. Where is that that morning game? We'll cover that real quick. There we go. Okay, Patriots Jaguars. So I did not start Brian Thomas Jr. Unfortunately, I should have, because I was still a little bit worried about the London situation, but it looks like them staying there for the week and being acclimated made a big difference, because Brian Thomas popped off, which I still got my win this week in Dynasty, so I'm not too bitter about it. But yeah, it was really good to see him going, getting things going. But yeah, Tank Bigsby, your start of the week.
Yeah, it paid off. Thank God.
Looked great.
Yeah, I was really high on it, and I had mentioned that I really liked this if ETN was out, and he ended up sitting, and I don't know how much more ETN can afford to miss, man, because he's losing his job here. Like, this guy, Tank, coming out of college, I was, very adamant about the fact that he was the only part of the offense on his college team that looked good at all. And he was so freaking dynamic, and he just looks awesome. I mean, what did he do in this game? He had 26 carries for 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 4.5 yards a carry. He had a target, but no receptions. But I mean, my goodness. I mean, the way this offense looks when they can get it clicking is really interesting, because I think if you can keep the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands for under 30 times a game, I think you're going to be in good shape, because if that's the case, you're probably running the ball very well. And Trevor Lawrence looked really efficient when he didn't have to carry the game. I mean, he 15 for 20, 193 yards and a touchdown, no picks, and you had a great run game. Even Dearness Johnson had 9 carries for 38 yards. He was averaging 4.2 yards a carry. So when you can run the ball, and obviously the Patriots look really bad. They're probably one of the worst teams in the league right now. When you can run the ball, it just makes everything easier. It takes all the pressure off your quarterback. I mean, we see that with the Ravens. Not that Lamar's the bad quarterback or anything, but there's just so much relieved pressure when it's like you can hand the ball to a guy who can, just get you something. So it's really good. Drake May, he doesn't look terrible either. I mean, that's a solid outing. Yeah. 276, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Yeah. And a blowout loss, somewhat of a blowout loss. You don't turn the ball over, and Hunter Henry's starting to look like a really big fantasy piece with Drake May at the helm. So a lot of fun stuff in that game.
Yeah. Hunter Henry's a little bit like boom or bust still, but if we start to see a little bit of consistency here where we can develop some sort of a floor for Hunter Henry we can count on week after week, I'm super pumped at the idea of him, because I've got him. He's been a stash of mine, and I've got Trey McBride, so it's not like I'm going to be starting Hunter Henry over him, but I mean, 8 receptions, 92 yards. That's awesome. I love that he's kind of establishing himself as, because we had Austin Hooper, who honestly looks pretty decent for a tight end. Like he wasn't really on our radars, but in his opportunities in some of these games, he still looks like pretty healthy and pretty athletic, decent hands. But I just want to see one of these guys establish themselves and not just be like both of these guys are, getting 3 or 4 targets a game. So Henry emerging is pretty exciting for fantasy. Jermichael Hasty, 5 receptions, 49 yards, and a touchdown. That's pretty solid. Demario Douglas was the odd man out, man. Unfortunately.
I was just about to say, it's weird with Demario. His usage was way lower, and maybe it's just Drake May, seeing new faces and trying to figure out what his guy is going to be. But Jalen Polk is starting to give me shades of Jahan Dotson, where it's like, okay, this guy has all the ability in the world, but he just can't find targets. And I think he had 2 or 3 targets in this game, no receptions, and dude is not happy. I mean, he's just got a lot of things going on. Even I think it was last week he said that he said he has the best hands on the team, and it's just, I don't know. Jalen Polk is not panning out like I thought he would for sure. I thought this guy would be in the top 5 of the rookie, receiver class, but it's not looking that way right now.
Yeah, we'll see. This offense is still figuring out their identity. Even when you look at the discrepancy here with last week, it was Demario Douglas getting all the targets. This week, it was Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
So it's if Drake May's still settling in and getting comfortable, so maybe he'll get a little bit better at distributing the ball. But gosh, when you've got a situation with Ramondre, this backfield is a mess. Jermichael Hasty, going to be catching the ball that well. This is just going to keep getting muddied in the backfield. So for fantasy, that's a bummer for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Ramondre doesn't look that great though.
He doesn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
7
he doesn't look
carries
great.
for 18 yards, pretty doo-doo.
Antonio Gibson doesn't look great.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at here? Okay, let's move on. So Titans, Bills.
Absolute shellacking.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph gets the start. I think he looks better than Will Levis,
You would hope so.
Yeah, 25 of 40, 215, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he's at least going through his reads and looks like he's making smarter decisions and getting the ball out quicker than Levis was. Pretty even distribution. Chiga Okonkwo, 4 receptions, 50 yards. Tyler Boyd, 5 receptions, 43 yards. He hit a bunch of different receivers. But yeah, nothing too exciting.
Bills. If you're a James Cook owner, you better be sweating. It's Ray Davis, man. That kid is arriving. I mean,
he looks great.
5 carries, 41 yards and a touchdown.
Got great hands too, every week flex at this point, I think. But Calvin Ridley, once again, 3 receptions, 42 yards. I don't know what they're gonna do here, man. It's just you got Calvin Ridley, you got DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't know. I guess this is just, maybe we can chalk it all up to new coaching regime, going through some rebuild here, trying to figure out which quarterback. You don't really have a good quarterback, but you're bouncing between these two, a rookie and or not even a rookie, but these 2 young quarterbacks to see what you've got here.
Yeah, in my opinion, the Titans kind of deserve this. You fire Vrabel, you clean house, you get rid of Derrick Henry, and it's now you're stuck cleaning up the scraps. You're in full rebuild at this point. I mean, you got no quarterback. You got, a very old talent at wide receiver, outside of Calvin Ridley, who's even kind of getting up there in age a little bit. But it's you brought in an older running back as well, and Tony Pollard, who's doing fine. I think Tony Pollard is the bright spot on the team. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, what was the idea here? You're just gonna take a year off? Like, you cleaned your whole freaking offense out, knowing your defense sucks too. I mean, the best player on their defense,
but their defenses looked decent. Like their defense looks like better than their offense right now to me. Like more consistent. Like I know that they let 34 points go here, but I don't think their defense looks good either. But like they're just in full rebuild, man.
Yeah,
like,
I look at some of these games though where it's been close, and I'm like, okay, they lost to the Bears 17-24. It's like the Bears defense is good, their offense is not. It wasn't quite clicking there. They lost to the Jets 24-17. The Jets offense looks terrible. They lost to the Packers 30-14. They go and beat the Dolphins, who are awful. But then you lose to the Colts, and then you lose, this badly to the Bills. I'm like, does their defense look good? Or they've just been playing really mediocre offenses so far, and then the one time they play an offense who's got it clicking, they get swamped. So
to me though, it's like also like your defense, no matter how good you are, if your offense is not giving you any rest and your offense can't do anything, like you're, like, I mean, what are they, like Mason Rudolph, 40 attempts, ends up going for 215 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Like the offense is, I mean, I'm not saying that the Titans defense is like good and this is all the fault of the offense, but it's like,
that's my whole point.
Like,
it's like, where was the game plan? It's like, were you really just trusting this coach to come in and like use all of these crappy little toys you got and make them, shiny again? It's like, look at your team. You're like, your two wide receivers who are like, starving for any sort of catches are DeAndre Hopkins, and then you got Tyler Boyd, who's older, Calvin Ridley, and then it's just, I don't know. I just am confused on like what their game plan was.
I think not having a competent quarterback is a big deal for all of this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But also the Bills defense is pretty solid. They seem like they're getting better week after week.
Yep.
And then you've got the Bills offense, who just added Amari Cooper, who looks like he was the missing piece, just a 1-game sample size, but he had a great start, 4 receptions, 66 yards and a touchdown, for getting there like somewhat later in the week and just jumping right into starting.
Yeah.
But he opened up, like his attention opened up Keon Coleman, 4 receptions, 125 yards, Khalil Shakir, 7 receptions, 65 yards. Like, and so I just feel like for fantasy purposes, like this, we'll see if Josh Allen gets back to any sort of like rushing, like his mass upside for fantasy with rushing the ball so much and getting in the end zone, like more than CMC and all that stuff. It's like, that's not what this game looked like. 21 of 33, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he still had a solid day for fantasy, but 3 carries for 1 yard. You still don't know, like they're being really careful with him, but this is what you want, outside of fantasy, is like you want your quarterback running when he needs to, but distributing the ball and you guys just getting it done from every angle,
Yeah, the Bills look great.
So I think Amari Cooper, I think this is going to be solid. I think he will be their one, but all of these guys I think are going to reap the benefits of actually having someone like Cooper in the offense to really just take it to the next level.
Agreed.
All right. Next up, I do not like using Google instead of ESPN. This is not working for me as well. All right. So Seahawks against the Falcons. Seahawks looked great. They controlled this whole game.
Yeah.
34-14. Geno, 18 of 28, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jackson Smith and Jigba threw one for 35 yards. Kenneth Walker continues to look awesome. 14 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. And didn't he catch the ball? Yeah, 2 receptions for 24 yards and another touchdown. Kenneth Walker looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, when they can get Kenneth Walker going, everything else opens up. I feel like you're always going to be in a good situation if you're Seattle, if you don't have to count on Geno Smith to go win you the game. If you can just keep your, run game going and let Geno just do what he's good at, and that's just like slowly getting you down the field or hitting DK on like one random big play or whatever it is. But when it's like clutch time, Geno Smith just like loses all skills, it seems like. But yeah, I mean, they looked awesome. I thought the Falcons looked pretty good. I just thought they just kind of like lost this game. I feel like they could have had it. Kyle Pitts is finally becoming like a valuable fantasy piece for the first time. 7 receptions for 65 yards. Bijan Robinson had a big breakout day. 21 carries for 103 yards and a TD.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, 34-14 that's pretty rough.
Yeah,
not like this
the picks,
Yeah, not like this is a close game. I think that we're seeing because Seattle's defense, when healthy, is pretty solid. But I do love the fact for fantasy that when Bijan, when he has a little bit of a questionable tag here and there, we're like, what's going on? Algier is like getting half the carries. He's getting more carries. He's like closing out the game. But I think this week with Bijan totally healthy, like I love at least the usage for fantasy implications. Absolutely dominating the backfield and looking good. And I love that they're using him a lot in goal line situations, which for fantasy as a Bijan owner, I'm super stoked to see that.
Yeah, that kid Kobe Bryant for Seattle, he is insane. He's their I think he's their free safety. But
yeah,
my God,
look good.
He looks like Cam Chancellor out there. Like the dude was punishing people, and he had one of those picks. Like,
yeah,
I was like, the name suits this kid. He's definitely got that Mamba mentality. That's for sure.
Yeah, bro. All right, let's keep it rolling here. You want to? I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it keeps taking me back to the menu screen every time. Okay. Texans Packers. This was a great game. This came right down to the wire.
Yeah.
And then Green Bay ends up getting it done.
CJ Stroud had a rough day.
Yeah, he did. Joe Mixon did not.
No.
Joe Mixon, dude. That's the one I missed on this year, man. I wish I would have gotten more shares of him. But yeah, you're right. CJ Stroud, 10 for 21, 86 yards. My God, I didn't even know that it was that bad.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they dominated the time of possession in this game because Joe Mixon was just eating. I mean, 25 carries for 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. CJ Stroud did a little bit of running. He had five carries for 19 yards, which is pretty rare. But he couldn't get it going, man. His accuracy was off. The defense had him pretty rattled. When it came to just kind of putting the pressure on him. I mean, the Packers drew up a great game plan. They brought the pressure on him, and that opened up Mixon because they missed on a lot of tackles, blitzing as much as they did. But they really put the pressure on CJ Stroud, and that's how people used to beat Tom Brady. They would bring the pressure hard. They would just get him really uncomfortable and make him, try to step out of the pocket. But that was a really, really impressive, I think, coaching plan from the Packers side. And, I used to be a little bit of a Matt LaFleur hater, but I'm starting to come around to the fact that this guy is really dynamic in his coaching regime. Like, it's wild how he can draw up days for guys. It's like one day you'll have, Jaden Reed just popping off and doing everything. And then, then you get Romeo Doubs, 8 receptions for 94 yards. And, then everyone's like getting touchdown work though. Like Josh Jacobs had a touchdown, Tucker Kraft, Dontavian Wicks. It's pretty impressive. Like everyone eats in this offense. So
yeah, man, rough outing for Jaden Reed. Two receptions, 10 yards. I think he had 1 carry for no yards. So that was rough. But he was kind of, in and out of like the questionable tag throughout the week. So I don't know if they're just kind of being careful with him. But they ended up getting it done. It was really, not a whole lot going on outside of those top 3.
These injury
Obviously
tags
Josh
are
Jacobs.
so weird this year. Like, you can't even really tell who's hurt or not hurt, because going into last night's game, we'll get to it, but like Mike Evans was cleared to play and they said he was fine. And then the dude is out there like playing with a rubber band for a hamstring. So I'm like, yeah, I think you're right, where it's like Jaden Reed did not look healthy. He looked very like hobbled and slow. And I think people this year, like, there's so many injuries that I think it's like people aren't wanting to miss, or whatever it may be. I don't know, but it's pretty wild. These reportings have been jacked.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Bengals versus the Browns. Bengals get it done 21-14. We have Deshaun Watson going out in this game. It's looking like he's probably going to be done for the season. We'll see. But
Potentially forever.
yeah, you never know.
Oh.
Joe Burrow, 15 of 25, 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. Fantasy implications, Chase Brown looks like he's taken over this backfield, 15 carries. But if you're only putting up 2.9 a carry, who knows how long that's going to last. And again, even with the injury thing, it's like Zach Moss has been kind of like, not like, it's seeming like he's not been at 100% for a little bit here. Let's see. T. Higgins, another big day, 4 receptions, 82 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 5 for 55 and a touchdown. They did just enough to get this done. But I'm really excited at the potential of Jameis Winston actually getting the start here. Because DTR, 11 for 24 for 82 yards and 2 interceptions is not going to cut it. I couldn't believe that they had him going. Like, I think it's just, we want to see what we've got here. But when the reporting was coming out, like DTR is the next man up, I'm like, why? Like, Jameis Winston is a gunslinger. Like,
my goodness, if Jameis Winston, you got me wanting to say Jameson. If Jameis Winston becomes the starter, David Njoku looked insane as soon as he came into the game. Like, the dude was making it a point to get Njoku the ball, and they just looked really, really good together. So that'll be fun. Cedric Tillman looked awesome in this game. I was okay, this guy is a baller. 24 years old, big dude, big body, wide receiver. He's like a 3rd round pick, I think, but 8 receptions for 81 yards. Like, dude looks super dynamic. And Elijah Moore got involved. He's got to be happy about that. That dude's been a ghost for like a decade now. He's trying to get work everywhere.
Yeah, I'm excited for Njoku for sure. And Tillman, like, someone's got to step up. And Nick Chubb makes his debut coming off the injury. Didn't look great, but at least we see him on the field. Also, if they give Jameis the start and this offense is actually moving the ball down the field, that's going to open things up for Chubb a little bit more. Got in the end zone, but you could tell they were sort of taking it easy. But he had a couple plays, though, where he did look like, okay, those legs do look comfortable. He's evading some tackles, making some hard cuts. And it's like, okay, like that was great to see, though. If you're a Chubb owner, it's just pretty stoked.
He's gonna have to play himself into shape, but he'll be fine. Yeah. It'll just take a little bit.
Yeah. So I am excited, though, at the idea of Jameis. Just see what you got here. Like, the dude's competent.
Enjoy sports betting and daily fantasy? Well, Daily Grind is here to help you beat the books. They make premium DFS tools that do all the work for you, comparing lines across just about every platform, looking for discrepancies for you to take advantage of. Start off your research with their DFS Optimizer, a tool that finds all the best plays and rates them with their odds to hit indicator. Or if you'd rather have them make your entire slip for you, they have you covered with their AI slip generator. They'll even notify you when a new slip is available. Go to dgfantasy.com and use code Backdoor. They will give you 25% off your first subscription all the way up to a year if you want. That's dgfantasy.com, code Backdoor.
All right, Eagles versus Giants. I was expecting the Giants to keep it a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Personally.
I mean, this is I totally forgot about the revenge game narrative behind this game, but my Jesus, did he get revenge? 17 carries on Saquon Barkley for 176 yards and a rushing TD. And I don't know if you guys seen the clip that's kind of going viral right now of Saquon. He was like 10 yards away from his record for like the most rushing yards against like a team or something. And their coach, I can't remember his name right now, but he came up and asked him if he wanted to go back in because it was like a blowout at that point. And
Sirianni?
he was going to pull the starters, and he was like, I won't if you want to go back in and get your record. And he was like, no, just let the young guys play. He's like, it's totally fine. So I thought that was pretty cool. It shows a lot of maturity and, sportsmanship to do something like that and not be just chasing stats. But that's Saquon. That dude's a winner. Even at Penn State, like, he was a big part of why Penn State was like a really, really good team at the time. So the Eagles look good. I just think Jalen Hurts looks a little sketchy still. I mean, 10 completions for 14, or 10 completions on 14 attempts for 114 yards.
I mean, that's actually good numbers though. Like, if you're only throwing the ball 14 times,
there was just a lot of passes that could have been intercepted, but it was like, I don't know. It's definitely not as bad as like what Daniel Jones did, but
they just ran all over them. Even Ken Gainwell, 13 carries for 56.
Yeah,
it's just like, they're like, okay, let's see if you can stop us here. But yeah, I mean, AJ Brown, you figure Jalen Hurts had 10 completions, 5 of those were to Brown for 89 yards and a touchdown. The dude is so scary in the end zone. He pulls down everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just a little beating.
Yeah, there's nothing really to talk about here. They just got punished.
Tyrone Tracy led the backfield in carries, which is nice. 6 for 23. Malik Neighbors, 4 for 41. They couldn't get anything going against this defense.
Yeah.
Tracy, 3 receptions for 9 yards. I mean, like, Dable is giving. I mean, this is probably going to be a 50-50 backfield until Tracy maybe just takes over entirely. But he definitely gave him the snaps.
That was a tough matchup for Tracy, and they got punched in the mouth early. So running the ball kind of left the playbook really early, and they were trying to. Like, whenever Daniel Jones has to go win you a football game, you're probably not in good hands. But,
right.
it was. I thought it looked fine with Tracy. I think he'll be really good.
All right, Raiders, Rams. Rams get it done 20-15. Raiders actually looked pretty decent.
They lost Aiden O'Connell.
Never mind, Gardner.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell got hurt, and he's on injury reserve now.
Gardner did not look good, bro. 15 of 34, 154 yards, 3 interceptions.
It was bad. Really bad.
But Brock Bowers, just like, the dude physically looks better than every tight end in the league. Like,
he's just a football
player. He is
player,
so
man.
dynamic, man. He's so athletic. 10 receptions, 93 yards. But he doesn't look like a tight end out there.
Yeah, no, it's like when you look at him and his I hate to bring it up because I was just had the hair pulled back the other day showing my giant forehead, but the dude's hairline is gone. And everyone's comparing him to Jason Witten now, and they're like, it's just Jason Witten unretired, or like getting the Benjamin Button treatment. But the dude plays like a veteran too, man. 21 years old. Like, he was born after me. I'm actually older than him, which is so crazy for me now to be older than people who are in the NFL. But the dude is so good. Like, his hands, probably some of the best hands for a tight end I've seen in a long time. Like Travis Kelce level hands. And
so the Witten comparison is
to the hairline.
Okay, I was gonna say, because not a good player comp. Because Witten never looked this good.
No, definitely not. This kid is an athlete for sure. Witten was just a big body guy who ran the Y stick route really well. And
honestly, like, while the Raiders aren't a great team, this is a great landing spot for Brock for fantasy because he is just getting all the work. He's the wide receiver 1 on this team.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kyren, another big game, 21 carries, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Johnson looks pretty solid, 4 receptions, 57 yards, and Tutu Atwell leading the team, 6 receptions, 51 yards. Yeah, it was basically just the Kyren show again.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of their identity right now until they get their guys back. But you know, their receivers are gonna make do every week. They're not gonna be crazy. You know, they might have some blowout performances where they do pretty well, but yeah,
might get Cooper Kupp back this week. That'll change everything.
That will, yeah.
All right, Panthers Commanders.
I was wrong. Sorry, guys.
Oh, this was your upside of the week?
Yeah, this is one I said I could see it. I obviously need some Claritin Clear because I was not seeing straight on this one.
No.
But it looked good from man Andy Dalton. Bryce Young comes in, 2 completions for -4 yards.
These were absolutely trash throws by Dalton too. Like both of those interceptions, he's what's the word I'm looking for? He's collapsing. Like when you throw that bad of an interception, and I believe that was a pick 6, one of those, and then he's just looking around like it was someone else's fault. Like he's just like upset and just like, it's like, dude, you did that. Who do you think did that? You did that. 11 of 16 for 93 yards and 2 interceptions. Oh my God.
Dude, their new rookie, Jatavion Sanders, leads them in receptions. Like, that is so crazy.
And then Bryce Young comes in, goes 2 for 2 for -4 yards.
Yeah, that is just insult to injury. It's like, there's your future, guys. There's the thing you traded for.
They collectively went for 89 yards between the two of them. Chuba Hubbard still getting all the work. 17 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to look at more of this.
Yeah, poor Jaden Daniels, though. I mean, that's the big topic, right? Jaden Daniels is hurt. I don't know if we know the extent of it yet.
I'm guessing at least a week. It didn't look bad. He looked in good spirits and stuff. Like he's on the sidelines, and it's unbelievable. Like, we know this matchup was super juicy for the Commanders, but Marcus Mariota came in and the offense looked the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Cliff Kingsbury is just on a different level with his play calling this year, or at least right now, because when you can plug in your backup and your offense literally looks the same, 18 of 23, 205 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions for Mariota. I was just like, wow. I thought like, okay, like Mariota will come in, they'll still win this game. But I was just like, they're moving the ball just the same.
Oh, man, Terry McLaurin is so freaking good, man. It's like, it's actually crazy how talented that guy is, where it's like he and it's impressive from Cliff, like you're saying, because it is the same. I mean, all these guys got literally the same usage. Like, Zach Ertz,
like the same offense.
Yeah, Zach Ertz 4 receptions for 40 yards and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin 6 receptions for 98 yards, no touchdown. But Brian Robinson, dude, this is what I was talking about. We were both high on him coming into this year, and this was the guy that I seen in Alabama. Like, obviously he got shot in the legs, so for a running back who needs their legs very bad, like, this isn't crazy though. Like, the amount of leveling up he's done since like kind of recovering from all that, because the dude, it looks awesome. Like, he I don't even think we've seen his ceiling yet of like how good he could be.
He's been a little bit in and out of like the questionable tag as well. So get him to 100%.
Oh man,
this offense is just like, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say this is probably the best offense in the league right now.
Yeah, like maybe
as far as
the Cowboys are pretty good.
As far as consistently, like, you see the Commanders put up 40 points, you're like, oh, like, which week are you talking about? Because they are knocking on the door of 40 points every week. Like,
yeah, I think to me the best offense right now is the Ravens, just because of their run game is so disgusting. But you're seeing a very, very similar situation with the Commanders, and like when Jaden Daniels is healthy and they're able to commit the same RPO. But what the Ravens can do is just criminal with their RPO, and they're also putting up about 40 points a week. So it's close between the two. I think they're both really, really dialed in.
They're right up in there.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. Let's see. Anything else to note? Mariota looked solid. Yeah. Let's move on. But yeah, hopefully Jaden's not out long. Again, he didn't look like, in a lot of pain or anything. That seemed like they're just maybe being precautionary. They went and I think they x-rayed his ribs or something like that. All right. Chiefs 49ers.
Oh boy.
Chiefs get this done 28-18. Their defense just ate.
Patrick Mahomes
rough situation.
Looks like trash. I'm sorry, but
yeah, he doesn't need to do much right now. I mean, he threw the 2 picks, but it's like they're 6-0.
I just
6-0 without him even popping off yet.
Yeah, I just don't want to hear like he needs he needs Rashee Rice back. It's like, dude, he's got such an insane offense with Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce. I mean, Noah Gray doesn't look bad either, but like Kareem Hunt is running the rock better than you could ask for from a guy that you just brought in from sitting on the couch, So it's like they I don't know. I think the quarterback play looks a little lackluster for sure. I think Mahomes, he can afford to kind of have a little crappy of a start. I think they'll definitely clean it up as they go on, but
he'll get it figured out.
Yeah, the Niners didn't look good at all though.
Yeah, they're just the Chiefs are just managing these games. Like that's what it looks like to me. Like they've got a perfect record. It's like if you have a perfect record now, what are things going to look like once Patrick does like get into full like Patrick Mahomes form? Because it's not looking great, but it's not like anybody's worried about. Like we know he'll figure it out. Kareem Hunt does look great though.
Yeah, he does.
22 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously you're missing Rashee Rice, but that's not an excuse. Plus, they also had Juju Smith-Schuster leave the game right away with a hamstring, questionable coming in, and then so you don't have him, for the majority. So even before Rashee, like without Rashee, like getting Juju back healthy will help as well. On the 49ers side, ouch. Brock Purdy, 17 of 31, 212 yards, 3 interceptions. But these injuries are the story of the day. George Kittle, another solid outing, 6 receptions, 92 yards. But Brandon Ayuk, he's out for the season now, right? Season ending.
Yep.
And then you had something going on with Debo.
He had pneumonia and he's got fluid in his lungs. So that's always scary. Pneumonia is definitely nothing to mess around with.
No, you don't want to be playing football with pneumonia.
No, dude.
It takes all your energy away.
Yeah, pneumonia is one you got to just kind of let your body recover from and get as much, medical help as you can to get over it. But is Brock Purdy, I think people are being a little harsh. This is a really tough game to go win. I mean, you're playing against the defending Super Bowl champs. You lose 2 of your best wide receivers right before the game and during the game. And then you got someone who just got shot in the chest playing, and you got George Kittle. So it's like, do you really blame him for losing to the Kansas City Chiefs? Everyone's like, proven he's a system quarterback. I'm like, come on, dude. Like,
no, it's just one game.
It's one game, and you played the Super Bowl champs who are 6-0. And it's like, come on.
Yeah. And you had no Debo. You lose Ayuk early. Like, Brock Purdy had a bad game, but that doesn't everybody has a bad game. Like we were just talking about Mahomes, who's had multiple bad games, but they're still winning.
Yeah.
But yeah, Purdy will be fine. But
not to mention, Nick Bosa was getting held on every single pass rush attempt, and it never gets called. Like the Chiefs play, like the refs do not call penalties against the Chiefs, like hardly at all. It's actually disgusting. Like if you just go back and watch that game, dude, like there's like 10 plays I could count where Nick Bosa is literally being put in a chokehold by 76, the guy who's offsides on every single play, and he's just getting wrapped up like every time, and they never call it. It's actually wild. A little bit of conspiracy talk here, but it is kind of getting a little blatant, I think, at some points, where it's like
definitely see it from time to time.
Yeah,
where you're like, okay, come on now.
Yeah, there was a lot of that with the Patriots dynasty though too. I mean, it just happens, right? It's like
it's kind of like LeBron getting calls.
Yeah,
it's like you reach this elite status where it's almost like subconsciously the refs assume, like they almost like have an unintentional bias. Not saying that they're trying to make these games win, but maybe they aren't as, I don't know, there's something there, but I don't think it's like the refs want the Chiefs to win. Not saying that you're saying that, but that's some of the stuff you hear online.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
I do think that when you're on top, like you get the benefit of the doubt a little bit more. Little bit, like
yeah, you definitely get the calls, right? That's like, you know, a boxer who's the champion. You gotta convincingly go beat the champion, or else you're not going to get the decision from the refs, right? So it's like that's just kind of how it is with the Chiefs right now. It's like you got to go beat them, and you got to beat them bad, or you're not going to get the win, and the refs aren't really going to help you out too much. But this wasn't just that. This was way more than that. This is the Niners. You know, you see this stuff like Kyle Shanahan going, and everyone's like, Kyle Shanahan gave Brock Purdy a 20-minute lecture at his locker, and it didn't seem good. And it's like, why is Kyle Shanahan lecturing his quarterback when the play calling looked so vanilla in this game? Like Jordan Mason, 14 carries for 58 yards. I don't even think he looks that healthy yet, but it's like, why is this Isaac Guerrero guy, why is he not getting more opportunities? Why does he only have one carry? Why are you only, you know what I mean? It's like Kyle Juszczyk's only got one carries. Like that doesn't matter, but I just think
Guerrero in his last game had like one good play, and then he was averaging like under 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Like outside of that. So like, I don't really care.
But they did bring Guerrero in to control the clock too. So it wasn't like he was trying to, like, even on that massive touchdown run, he kind of went down on purpose to stop the clock when he could have scored.
Absolutely did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely did. That was, and people were like, did he look like he got bumped? I'm like, that dude did not get bumped.
No, the guy was on his ankle.
Him barely. Like that was so intentional. He didn't just like go down there on accident. But yeah, I mean, like, and I don't even care if Kyle Shanahan's lecturing Purdy. Like, why is everyone so sensitive? Like,
I know,
this is a coach who's getting paid millions of dollars,
and his quarterback threw 3 picks. You know?
Yeah, so it's like dude, yeah, there's going to be times when a coach lays into a player, or a player pushes back and lays into a coach. Like, who cares? Like, like, and you can't break out the tissues over something like that. Like,
and they did just give this kid a bag, so of course they're gonna be hard on him and want him to play good. You know, it's the 49ers we're talking about here. They're a legendary franchise. So
so who cares, man? Like,
stop whining.
That's how. Like, let them get after each other a little bit. Like, sometimes you need to hash things out and get to the bottom of what's going on. But, all right, so let's talk about the night game: Jets versus the Steelers. Russ was cooking, and
the Jets were.
It's true, they were, and like we can't overreact. We can't overreact to Russ because this defense was absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we got to give him a little bit of credit because the offense looked better than when Justin Fields was in. And we were all like, wait, Russ is starting? They're 4-2, you know, like, and Fields has looked solid, but Fields has looked solid. Yeah, for sure. They're 4-2.
Sorry, go ahead.
Also because of that, I was gonna say they're 4-2 because of that defense, you know, coming into this game, and Fields.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna add on to what you were saying. Like, I think the defense was winning them the games mainly, and I think Justin Fields was doing just enough, to like get them the win. But yeah, I mean, Russ got George Pickens looking nice.
Yeah, like no matter how you look at it, you could say, yeah, the Jets defense was all, beat up that game. Like however you want to look at it, if you watched that game, Russell Wilson looked good.
Yeah,
this offense looked good. He was like these like he was lobbing these balls like right to where, like his timing of some of these lobs were just so right in front of these guys where the defender can't get it, but these guys were catching it in stride. He looked like he was commanding this offense as far as just like actually leading the offense in the huddle, calling plays, calling audibles. Like I was like, dude, I got to give this guy credit. He looked much better. And all of a sudden this team looks like better than just a solid defense. It's like, wow, if Russell is actually back, we love to hate on the dude. And I mean, I've done my share of all of that, and I probably still will if he starts playing crappy again. But all of a sudden, it's like the Steelers could be pretty scary if they're this locked in. Like,
and the Jets need to take notes on this is how you run the football. This is how you hammer the football. 21 carries on Najee Harris. He's looking a lot better, by the way. I think he's gotten himself into playing shape.
Absolutely. Got to give him credit too.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not going to be as hard on him anymore. He definitely looks good now. 21 carries for 102 yards, 5 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. But then adding on top of that, you give Jalen Warren 12 carries for 44 yards. Like, that is what you do. When you get up, just barely, they got the 1 touchdown, and they hammered the rock. And then 5 receptions on George Pickens for 111 yards and a touchdown. The dude averaged 22 yards per catch. The guy is awesome. Like, you talk about the contested catches, like the best contested catches players in the NFL right now. Like, in my opinion, AJ Brown, George Pickens. I know there's some I'm missing, but like, my God, like these two, AJ Brown specifically and George Pickens, are violent with the football when it's coming their way. Like, they are dogging people for the ball, and it's fun to watch because it's like a whole different level of, I'm just better than you. I don't care if I'm smaller than you. I'm going to go take the football out of your hands and it's mine now. Like, that's who George Pickens and AJ Brown are. And it's so exciting, like, to watch those kind of players.
And Russ was getting these receivers like the best opportunity they could ask for to go make tough catches, like laying it right in there. So I was very impressed. And, and then we got Van Jefferson. I thought that was a pretty clever play, the way they drew that up. Like, I've just forever trashed Arthur Smith, but he was calling the plays like a G in that game.
Yeah.
And like some of these schemes, like that particular play to Van Jefferson in the end zone, I was like, you got him so open on that play. Like, I was impressed, man. So it's exciting for fantasy purposes. George Pickens owners have to be like so stoked. I don't have any shares of him.
Calvin Austin owners too. Calvin Austin dropped 2 massive plays. If Calvin Austin caught those balls, he would be at 3 receptions for probably 90 something yards right now. And like he looked awesome, but the balls were just placed either a little bit behind him where he had to like fall down to grab them, or it was just like slightly out of his reach on a couple of them. But Russ started to really lock in, and he looked like old Seattle Seahawks Russell Wilson, where it's like quick at the line work, under shotgun with the snap, and throwing absolute beautiful dimes to people right over the top. So really great A performance from Wilson. Even looking at the stats, 16 completions for 29 attempts. I don't even care about that. Because how do you fit 29 passing attempts in when you ran the ball 33 times? That is crazy play calling. Like, grade A play calling from what's his name? Arthur, yeah. Great Arthur play Smith. Calling.
Yeah, man. And I'm just, what this is to me is this got me really excited to see what they look like in their next game, because that was beyond just like, oh, their defense was trash. It's like, no, the way he controlled that entire offense was impressive.
Well, they played the Giants on Monday night, so they're probably gonna look pretty good.
We haven't even got into the Jets offense. We're just sitting here glazing Russ. Rodgers 24 of 39, 276 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The first half of this game looked the, the first half of this game looked solid though. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good game, and then the Steelers, I mean, they also the Jets sustained some injuries during the game to the defense, but the Steelers defense adjusted so well at the half. Breece Hall, 12 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown. Like, let's look at this actual. Yeah, so it was 15-13 going into the half. Jets were up by 2, and then they come out and the Steelers go 10-0 and then 14-0. So 27 or 24-0 in the second half.
Yeah.
That is just how you make halftime adjustments. Like, they took away everything that they were doing in the first half,
Yeah, Breece Hall, 6 receptions for 103 yards, though. That's pretty wild. But why have you just completely shied away from Braylon Allen? I don't understand this. Like, 2 carries and 1 reception. It's like, I get it. We talked about it. Breece Hall needs to be involved. He's involved. That's not the problem anymore, but I don't think you completely put Braylon Allen back into the bullpen yet. It's like the dude needs to be getting work because it just helps seeing different looks. Like, it's like Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. You're getting 2 different players. You're getting 2 different sets of legs. Breece Hall looked pretty tired at the end of this game, but the Rodgers just couldn't get some of these connections going. Obviously, him and Garrett Wilson looked fine. But him and Devontae Adams, they didn't look too linked up. Obviously, the first play of the game was a drop pass. Rodgers threw it just a little bit out in front of him. And Mike Williams looks completely washed. He had 1 reception for like 15 yards, but then he had a couple of targets that he dropped as well. So I don't know. Like, obviously, they're in a rough situation. They've got interim coaches everywhere. They kind of blew up the chemistry with this team because they went and stripped Nathaniel Hackett of the play calling, and they really just stuck a nail right through the heart of this team. I think deservingly so, because the Jets weren't doing things right, and it looked a little sus how they were throwing the ball like 60 times a game. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Steelers just came out and hit him in the mouth pretty hard, and then they couldn't recover.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. The Jets could like the Jets at least have like somewhat of a decent schedule coming up. So they have the Patriots next, which they just absolutely dominated before. That could be a get right game. Then they have the Texans. That'll be a tough one. But then after that, they've got the Cardinals and then the Colts. So they have a little bit of an opening here in the schedule to kind of, work on some of this stuff. But the clock's ticking, man. They can't afford any more losses.
I think Rodgers looks really rough. Like, he's not looked great. I know he's playing with a banged up ankle, but
he like tore up his hand in that game too.
Yeah. He's old, man.
But yeah, he is. We'll see. It's starting to seem like this whole experiment with the Jets is not looking great. All right. Let's see. So we get into the Monday games. Ravens versus Buccaneers.
It's a depressing game.
Yeah, this game was looking. I mean, it was still a really exciting game, but
yeah,
man,
it had potential to be really exciting, but yeah, I mean, horrible outcomes. Obviously, Lamar Jackson. We'll start off on a positive note. Lamar Jackson played amazing. 5 passing touchdowns on 17 completions for only 22 attempts. Derrick Henry, 15 carries for 169 yards. It's amazing how an NFL running back can make it look like he's playing against Little League people. Like, he's just so big and dominant. It's probably one of the most dominant football players of all time. Lamar, though, nine carries for 52 yards. Zay Flowers had a rushing attempt for 19 yards. Rashad Bateman, 4 receptions for 121 yards and a touchdown. This was surprising. And this is the Rashad Bateman we've seen every once in a while, where it's like, okay, Rashad Bateman looks really good, and then he'll get hurt and linger in the depths for the rest of the year.
He's looked good the last 2 weeks, though. Yeah. Before this game, even they've been all of a sudden, it's like, okay, maybe we really have Rashad Bateman finally. Yeah. And coming into this season, John Harbaugh had all the confidence in him, like he was like, he just, the way he talked about him, I was like, dang, he really believes. It's kind of like the Jameson Williams coach speak for the Lions. It's like all these
Yeah.
people that are kind of like, I think we've seen enough. We know where this is going. But Rashad Bateman, I was kind of high on him at before this game, even on Prize Picks, with some of his lines were in like the 30s for receiving yards. I'm like, he's just coming off a couple games where he's getting 4 receptions, 4 to 5 receptions a game. Like yeah, I think he had like 8 targets 2 weeks ago, 5 targets last week, and it's working out great. He fills a very specific role, but then as soon as Zay Flowers got injured, I was just like, okay, yeah, like Rashad Bateman's gonna go off. But
Yeah.
unfortunate for Zay, like that was a real bummer. Like they still won this game. He's probably going to be fine, but obviously after he went down, he didn't really get any targets after that.
Yeah, he was out there kind of as a decoy. But
Yeah.
thank you, Jesus Almighty, that Mark Andrews is finally back. 4 receptions for 41 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is fine.
Yeah.
Give me the Mark Andrews back where he's not going for like 100 passing yards or receiving yards. I don't care about that. The touchdown catching machine that Mark Andrews looked like himself again last night, and it was really fun to watch. I was really happy. It kind of made my night seeing that. Isaiah Likely even got involved a little bit. 2 receptions for 17 yards. He's just like a big wide receiver for them at this point. But then also I want to mention this. Roquan Smith is probably one of the best linebackers in the league right now. Like that dude is everywhere and he's making tackles all over the place. 11 solo tackles on 7 assists. Like dude's an absolute machine. But the more depressing side of the story of this game obviously was Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Mike Evans obviously was not right coming into this game. As soon as he caught that touchdown, he was like already hobbling on the sideline. And then they were like
run as fast as you can.
You know what? Let's put Mike on a go route and watch him burn. And how he burned the defense with a like half torn hamstring, and still was like open, ready to catch that thing in the end zone was just ballistic. But then he locked up like an 85-year-old dehydrated grandpa on the field after he landed, and it was like you could tell immediately. We were watching the game together and we were like, uh-oh. And he didn't come back. He went up the tunnel. That's the second receiver I've had to watch this year of mine go up the tunnel and not come back out
after running into the end zone.
Yeah, after
a hammy.
Yep, that's just not fun to watch. But obviously, Chris Godwin's ankle injury at the end of the game had like 50 seconds left, and they were down by 10 points. There was no reason he should have even been out there. I know that they got the onside kick, and they were all hyped up, and I think a lot of this was Baker being super competitive, probably. Like, just being like, we can go out there and do this. Like, I just know that's what was going through his head. You could feel the energy from him. Todd Bowles was just like, I don't even know what's wrong with that guy, because he's always like laughing when there's nothing to laugh about. Like Chris Godwin breaks his ankle and is just crawling on the floor, and Todd Bowles is just standing over him laughing. And so I'm not sure what's going on with Todd Bowles.
I missed that.
Yeah, everyone's memeing it right now because they're like, why is this guy laughing? Like he was literally like, yeah, it's really bizarre.
I have to pull that up.
Yeah, but
yeah, like. Yeah, it's unfortunate because I was watching the tail end of the Cardinals game, and I had Baker starting over Anthony Richardson, like I mentioned, and I was in a close one. I was down in my Dynasty League where I really needed to win this week. I was down by less than a point. It was like one of those matchups where you're down by like 0.7 something, I think that's what it was, 0.7 points or something like that. And anyways, I had Baker, and I'm like, oh no. And then they got the onside kick, and I was pumped. And Baker was able to just absolutely secure the victory for me. But then I switched back over to the Cardinals game. So I was like, okay, this game's pretty much over. I'm going to jump back over to the Cards game. And then Jordy is telling me about what happened to Chris Godwin. And I was like, I thought for sure it was a mistake. I was like, why would Godwin be back in the game?
Yeah,
like
that's what we're all trying to figure out.
I was like, because I was like, there's not enough time, and somehow it happened. Very unfortunate. Baker Solid outing though, 31 of 45, 370, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
And this backfield is going to be a little muddy. Like Rashad White looked good. This is like I'm still happy to be holding Sean Tucker for Dynasty. But all three of these guys can kind of get the job done, but Bucky Irving looks like the most bursty to me. Rashad White actually looks solid though. 10 carries, 40 yards, great pass catcher, 6 receptions, 71 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like he's really
that dude could be a wide receiver.
Catcher.
Yeah,
he's a big body, like but he's getting better on the ground too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he's actually fighting for yards now instead of just falling down. But Cade Otton, my God, that guy is the toughest SOB I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know if you guys watched how many times Cade Otton got absolutely blasted in the air after catching a ball. There's one where he went completely upside down and like landed on his neck and still held on to the ball. And there was just multiple like that. Like the dude got hit so hard on a different one that he fumbled the ball and then picked it back up because he got hit so hard. I thought he was knocked out. And then there was another one very similar to that where he just got crushed again. But the dude is like got the strongest hands I've ever seen. 8 receptions on, I think it was 10 targets for 100 yards. Like, dude was just getting a first down on every catch, it felt like. But he's awesome. I think he'll definitely see a lot more opportunity. So, if he's available in your leagues, definitely go get Cade Otton.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a beneficiary.
Yeah.
I think he's going to benefit from these vacated targets. I like Sterling Shepard, Jalen McMillan, Trey Palmer. Those guys will all see a bump, but Cade Otton is going to see part of that bump, I think, too, because he's the most familiar. And we saw this last year. Like Baker started to, target him a little bit more about midway through the season. But Baker, I don't think that this is going to be. I mean, obviously you want Godwin, you want Mike Evans, but I don't think that this is going to be something that is just devastating. I think they'll figure this out because they still do have talent on this team. They just need like a full week of practice with these younger guys in there, and Sterling Shepard, the veteran wide receiver on the team right now until Mike Evans gets back. These guys are competent, and Baker's really good at distributing the ball. Like he gets it to a lot of different pass catchers. So I think that the Bucs are going to be fine and they'll be able to weather this storm. But Cade Otton is going to be like the safety blanket. So I think things are looking up for him in this situation.
Yeah, I'm a little bit on the other side of the fence. I think it's over. I think the Bucs, dude, I'm telling you, I don't know why. I just get the feeling the Bucs, it's going to look really rough. That's just my opinion. But
yeah, I think they'll be fine. I mean, they played that whole game without Evans for the most part. And they had, Chris Godwin went down, but Chris Godwin wasn't getting heavily targeted in the first half. Ended the game with 7 receptions for 65 yards. They've got Rashad White catching the ball. They've got Cade Otton. I think Sterling Shepard is totally competent. He hasn't been like he needs reps, but the dude can catch the ball. I think they're going to be fine, at least until, like, if it were me, I would give Mike Evans at least 2 weeks off. Like we'll see what things are looking like, but he might need to go to IR. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying, like, if this looks so much like the Nico Collins situation, but it's like, would you just get this guy back to 100% before you bring him back in and then he hurts himself again? Like, get him to 100%.
Yeah, the crazy part to me is that we might not see Chris Godwin be a Buccaneer after this year because he's going to be a free agent. Yeah. So he even said, like, when he was being carted off, like, what a shame, because such a great year. I mean, he was number 1 in yards after contact, and he was having a fantastic year. So it's always horrible to see that happen. That's a pretty brutal injury. I mean, they wouldn't even show it on TV, but some people, of course, want to see people get hurt, so they zoomed it all in on Twitter, and you could just see that it was like clearly hanging off the side of his leg, so it was pretty bad.
Yeah. All right, let's cover this Cardinals game, and then we'll jump into some waivers and sleeper trending. Cardinals get this done. 17-15.
I'm glad we had 2 games on. That's all I gotta say. This game was a sneezer.
It was. All right, so Justin Herbert, impressive outing from the Cardinals defense. 27 for 300, or 27 of 39 for 349 yards, and didn't let them get in the end zone once. J.K. Dobbins, 14 carries for 40 yards. Just impressive. That it just, like, only thing they could do was field goals. Like, and I know that the Chargers aren't like some dominant offense or anything like that. And Justin Herbert needs better weapons to throw the ball to. You also had a questionable Ladd McConkey coming in, ended up playing, was not targeted much through the game until the very end, ends up finishing the night, 5 receptions, 46 yards. Josh Palmer, 4 for 63, and Will Disley. This is a waiver wire ad.
Yeah,
he looked great. And 8 receptions, 81 yards, just looked awesome. Especially in the fantasy landscape where, I mean, this is someone you want to go get for sure. Obviously, no Quentin Johnston. So Quentin Johnston's still sort of iffy, but as far as like archetypes go, like they don't have someone like him. Like they need that big body physical guy who, like, you just pray that he comes down with the ball, but he's got the athletics to give Justin Herbert some solid options as far as targets go. So I know that all, plays into it, but Kamani Vidal, like, I think this guy's going to be solid. I think he's going to work his way into like an every week flex because he looks really good when he's out there. 3 carries for 10 yards. So didn't get that much done on the ground. And 1 reception for 9 yards. But I don't know. I like the upside here. Like, I guess like every week flex, maybe I need to just chill. Like he's not there yet. But the Cardinals played good defense in this game. And then, but I don't know. I'm probably jumping the gun on Kamani, but like the dude looks like a great, like they could have a really solid 1-2 punch with J.K. Dobbins and then bringing in Kamani Vidal. All right, so Kyler Murray, 14 of 26, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. It was a rough outing, but he also got banged up, and we saw Clayton Tune come in for snaps multiple times in the game. Kyler, 6 carries for 64 yards and a touchdown. So solid outing for fantasy. James Conner looked like a monster. He's been kind of a little bit iffy the last couple of weeks, but I know that he was dealing with tightness in that game against Green Bay, so he didn't look at 100%, but he looked really good in this game.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Dude is such a beast. 2 receptions for 51 yards, dude. Thank God McBride landed on that fumble because James Conner was just beasting on that reception down the field, and then he got a little careless and they were able to punch it out. But Trey McBride, I was hoping for a bigger night from him, but we'll take it. 5 receptions, 51 yards. The nice thing is this is like a low game for him. So at the tight end position, that's solid when your like bad night is 5 for 51. Full PPR, you're still over 10 points. Marvin Harrison Jr. still, like, this is not all on Kyler. The play calling wasn't bad. I thought the play calling was decent. I thought Drew Petzing had a good game plan to get this done against this tough Chargers defense. But Marvin Harrison Jr., even when he had his opportunities, he had a couple drops that I thought kind of exposed a little bit. Like, he needs more reps. That's the thing. So yeah, he had 6 targets, 3 receptions, 21 yards.
Yeah, they're failing this guy, I think, in my opinion. They really are.
He needs more volume.
Yeah, this guy should be getting 10 to 12 targets, a bare minimum. You should be drawing up plays for this guy. There's no reason at all that he should be.
It's not Kyler's fault.
Yeah, I think it's 60-40. I think it's 60-40. I think it's 60% of the coach's fault, 40% of Kyler's fault, because I feel like there was multiple plays I was watching last night where Marvin Harrison wins the inside, which if you play wide receiver, you know that when you win the inside against anybody, the field's yours. Like, you can catch the ball on the outside and you're not even worrying about the guy because he has to basically drape over your back. And I'm seeing him win routes and he's just not getting the looks. So in my opinion, I think it's a lot of the coaching. They need to start drawing up plays and just saying, okay, you know what, 18's down there, you're going to throw the ball to him, and it's just, that's how it's going to be. They're doing it with Malik Neighbors. Obviously, they had a horrible game, but you got to just start doing that with this guy. He's too good to just be letting, like, run up and down the field doing a bunch of cardio. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I think it's a pretty big shame what they're doing to this guy.
Yeah, they need to get it figured out because it's a real waste.
Yeah.
And this offense, there's no reason why, like, they will not get better until he gets more involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plain and simple. You got James Conner, who's dominant. You've got Trey McBride, who's pretty dominant at the position. Now you need to get, like, why? Like, we have this, we have this beast just sitting right here. You know, like
potential league leading wide receiver.
Get him involved. Like, I completely agree. It needs to be forced. Like, they need to force feed him targets. Don't you just wish you could just talk to these guys sometimes?
Yeah, like hey, man.
Drew, what are you doing, man? Like,
yeah.
I have so much respect for Drew Petzing. I love his play calling. I think he's great. But it's like, dude, we got to dial this in for Harrison here.
Yep.
Yeah, not really a whole lot more to talk about on that side of things. Cool. Well, let's get into some waiver wire pickups and sleeper trending.
Let's do it.
By the way, if you guys have not signed up for sleeper picks yet, use code Backdoor FS, and they're going to give you 100% deposit match up to $100, and they're running discounts. You can jump on there for basketball as well. So yeah, sleeper picks, a lot of fun. Okay, so the top of sleepers trending board is Juwan Jennings, with good reason. He could go off. Like, he could, this is just a perfect storm for him to go nuts. We saw him hit 50 points in full PPR in week 3. Went 11 of 12, 11 receptions, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's going to have a steady role. I know everyone's talking about Ricky, but I think if Jennings is healthy, Ricky's not going to be getting more snaps than Jennings, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, at this point, they're both going to be playing like the same amount of snaps.
We have to see about, like, how long Debo's out. But
yeah, but I mean, you have Ayuk out, right? And Juwan was already the 2, so Ricky's just going to slot into the 3, and probably they might move one of them to the slot. And I mean, you should get them all on the field. They're all good. So I mean, you want to see all 3 of them out there when you're running a 3 set. But
yeah, but as far as, like, the majority of snaps, if Debo's healthy, Jennings is going to get a lot more
absolutely.
snaps.
He's the 2, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would think. But we don't know. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. Jacob Cowing looked pretty decent in some of his opportunities as well. Let's see. Yeah, man, this has just been, what a rough year, bro. Like,
yeah,
every time you start to feel like you get a little bit of a sense of what's going on, like, you have, a plethora of injuries. Again. So yeah, Jennings, go get him. Like,
absolutely.
That's my opinion of it. Like, I probably spent a little too much fab on Sean Tucker last week, but that's for Dynasty, obviously. So it's a different situation. I didn't, like, drop a bag for him in redraft, but Detroit Lions defense is trending. I'm sure it's just because of this matchup coming up here. Playing against Tennessee. Yeah.
Yep.
That's not really too relevant. I guess, do what you want with that. But yeah, Ricky Pearsall, he's got to be owned quite a bit. Yeah, 94% for Dynasty.
His owner percentage went up by like 30% when he got shot. So that tells you, like, everyone's like, yeah, he survived. So that's our guy.
Like, let's go get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a wait and see for me. Like,
I
I
think he's
wouldn't.
gonna be fantastic. Like, you look at
I
what
think
he
he'll be
did.
good.
He's a big dude, 6'3", 192 pounds. What he did in Florida, like his ability at the contested catch is going to be up there with like AJ Brown. Like, I'm not even kidding you. This guy has that kind of skill set. So if they, it's unfortunate he got shot, but like when he's healthy, man, oh my God, I'm really excited to see what this kid's got.
Yeah, me too. Played 76% of snaps, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 21 yards. Just a 1-game sample size. And it's going to take a little bit of like acclimating with the new situation. And I think he'll be great. If it's me, I'm swinging for Jennings if they're both on the waiver wire. But we also like, is Jennings going to be back soon?
Hopeful for week 8.
Okay. All right. So Jordy's high on Ricky. I'm high on Juwan. But yeah, I mean, also Juwan, I think Juwan just has the rapport there already, and we've seen him go for almost 50 points this year in this offense, but he's still dealing with a little bit of injury. So we don't really know his legit status. Like, hopeful is like, okay, what does it actually mean? Because we're getting guys that are playing with questionable tags going into these games, and they're not getting that much snaps, in some of these situations. So it's kind of a little bit of a tough call. Keon Coleman, yeah, man, he popped off. Like we said, it looks like the addition of Amari Cooper just kind of like freed up a lot of these other receivers. 4 catches for 125 yards.
Yep.
Looking solid. Yeah, I mean, what's that schedule looking like? They got the Seahawks next week. It'll be a little tough. And you got Miami, and then you got Indiana, Kansas City, and then the bye week. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not really seeing anyone on here that's like a fab dump type situation personally.
Juwan, I think, is pretty close.
Yeah, Juwan, like, I mean, especially for like Dynasty.
I mean, you're talking all year without Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, so
yeah.
you're gonna get a big year out of him, I think, for sure, for the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the dude is physical, and I mean, 11 of 12 in that game. Like, we know he's got good hands.
Yeah, he's also 6'3", 212, so he's a big guy.
Yeah. Sterling Shepard, I think he could be pretty interesting.
Yeah. For sure.
Definitely gonna jump right into a lot more snaps. They just need a little bit of time to get this offense dialed in. What a frustrating situation. They got to be kicking themselves over that, because that was so avoidable. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, that shouldn't have happened, and it's a coach's decision that made that happen.
I think someone who's going to be really good in this system, because he's already being so involved, is Jalen McMillan. I think if he's out there as well, go get him. He's probably got to be on this trending list somewhere, but he looks really good, and he had a lot of, they were getting him involved in the run game. They were getting him involved anywhere they could. He just didn't. There was a lot of catches. If he would have just caught the ball, man, like, holy crap, he would have had a monster game, because he had 8 targets. It was set up for them, though. I mean, the Tampa Bay wide receivers, this is going to be not what you see every week, because they were down so much and they were trying so hard, and they got the onside kick, and there's so many passing attempts, but it's going to be pretty dang close to this, because Baker is, playing at such a high level. He's just got to stop turning the ball over.
Yeah, they're just getting a lot of plays in per game, like, because their run game is pretty solid too. I couldn't believe the way they were moving the ball on the ground against the Ravens in that first half.
Yeah.
All right, DTR. I'm not interested personally.
Yeah, no.
Dude, he didn't look good. He shouldn't be starting over Jameis Winston anyways. Let's see. Trey Palmer. We totally forgot to mention him.
Yeah.
He's got experience, with this team. 72% of snaps, only 3 targets, 1 reception, 16 yards.
He has been, I think, a little banged up, though, if I'm not mistaken. He missed 2 games with a hamstring, I think. So I don't think he's playing at 100%. But
yeah, you got to think that he might jump. If Mike Evans misses time too, he would be like a bigger target that they could throw in there.
Cedric Tillman, go get him, though, for sure.
Yeah.
That dude, 12 targets, 8 catches for 81 yards. Like, that dude had a big performance, and he looked really good with Jameis Winston when he came in. So if Jameis gets to start it, and he actually had a couple catches of DTR as well, too. So, and he's just been slotted into that role that Jerry Jeudy was in now that, what's his name is gone, Amari Cooper. So, Elijah Moore looked good, too. If he's out on your wire, get Elijah Moore. I think any of these guys are going to do better than they were. So,
yeah, if Jameis is getting the start week after week, these guys are going to have their opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he loves to sling the ball, and they need to just get some sort of chemistry going with this team. And so,
yeah, if you're like, honestly, I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, if I was in need of a tight end and I was looking to make a big trade, I would go swing for Njoku right now. Yeah, I would.
Absolutely.
I would definitely go make him a trade target before it's too late, because it might already be tough, but man, he looks really good.
Yeah, there might be some people out there, though, who just still think this was just a one-off game.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. Like, you might be able to capitalize on that, and I would go get him because I think he's going to pop off.
Yep.
He was my start of the week. I liked him coming in with Amari Cooper gone. So there's like so many reasons for Njoku to just have a crazy rest of season.
Yeah. And if you can't go get him, go get Will Dissly. He's for sure.
Yeah,
Will
Dissly, Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry, there's still some question marks there. Will Dissly looks like he's establishing himself as a top target for Justin Herbert, and he's been efficient, so he'll keep getting targeted.
Yeah.
Tank Bigsby is trending.
Yeah.
95% owned. We've been telling you for weeks to get Tank. So
it's too late now.
Yeah. If he happens to be available, and this is dynasty settings that we're on, but for redraft, he might be out there. So if Tank Bigsby is out there, that is a fab dump.
Of course. Yeah.
That is like, I think we said that last week.
Yeah. Let's see. And okay. So in redraft, there's some hope for you guys. 73% owned. So go get him. Don't just walk there. Run for your life and go grab him as fast as you can. Fab dump. Throw it all on him.
Yeah.
Get him.
Yeah, I'm taking him. Like, that's, if he's available, that's the top ad.
Yeah.
Him and Juwan, there is a lot of upside there, obviously, but yeah, gosh, those guys are worthy of a bag if you're able to acquire them. Jacob Cowing, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, he looked good, like 2 receptions for 50 yards. But I think that this is really dependent on Debo's status versus Ayuk's, So it's like Debo could be back soon. So, and then, but yeah, Hunter Henry is on here. This could be a little up and down, but I think that he'll turn into like a regular target from Drake May. Like we said, like right now it's like last week it was Demario Douglas, this week, but I think that he still got in for a touchdown last week. Yeah. So he still went 3 for 41 and a touchdown last week. Then this week, 8 with 9 targets, 8 receptions, 92 yards. So I'm just a fan of Hunter Henry, and I like this situation. This is exactly what we talked about, like a rookie quarterback, just relying on the tight end for completions. So I'm not dumping the bag to get him, but if you need a tight end, like I would still like, throw a decent little amount to make sure you get him. But there is Will Dissly out there too, so Will Dissly, like you mentioned earlier. And then Jonnu Smith. I think that I like Jonnu, but I think that this was just like a product of, 7 of 7 for 96 yards and a touchdown. Like, yeah, that's a great outing. I just don't understand.
Last week he had 8 targets for 5 receptions and 62. Week 2, 7 targets for 6 receptions and 53. So it's, but then you have like a 1 target, no catches, 3 targets, 2 catches, 2 targets, 1 catch. So it's going to be really spotty with Johnny. So you just pray to God you're not in a situation where you're starting Johnny Smith.
Because you're not going to be in a situation where Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle combine for like 3 targets every week. Like that should never happen. So this is a little bit of an outlier type of a game. But so, yeah. Cortland Sutton. Maybe a bunch of people dropped him because he played 86% of snaps and got 0 targets in that.
Yeah, I don't know.
In that game, they didn't need to though. They just dominated the Saints in that game.
Yeah.
But also, we come into the week with Sean Payton saying he wants to get the rookies more involved. He wants them to be getting reps and getting more comfortable with the system. So that seemed like that was sort of the game plan. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Cedric Wilson is interesting. He had 7 targets for 6 receptions and a touchdown for 57 yards. He's going to be valuable because they're so short at wide receiver. I do think Olave, he's going to return, but still, Cedric, Bub Means did not look great. He did all right, but I think Cedric Wilson
out for the year.
Yeah, Rashid's out for the year, so you're going to have opportunities. They brought in MVS. He hasn't done. They actually just signed him. That's right. They brought in MVS. We'll see how that goes, but it's
that could be pretty interesting, actually.
He's definitely the Rashid Shaheed. He could be that.
Yeah, the down. But I know that Cedric Wilson isn't really the deep field type of guy, but he did look pretty fast out there.
Cedric's fast. He's a good player. I can't remember who he used to play with. Was it Buffalo?
The Dolphins.
Dolphins. Okay, yeah. He was always kind of like surprising in some games. For most of the year he wouldn't do much, but he would give you a game and you're like, yeah, that guy's got real potential. But he's in a great situation.
Yeah. I think that may have been a type of thing that was like a little spiky though with Olave being out.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
So it's like it's not like I don't know where that fits when Olave is back.
Well, yeah, and that's like what my question is who gets the work? Is it him or Bub Means? It's probably Bub Means because he's so much younger. But MBS is going to be interesting. He'll definitely slot in somewhere. So
yeah, if he can just catch the ball when Derek Carr's back, he will be. And okay, yeah, like until Derek Carr gets back, I think that the Spencer Rattler should be their QB3.
That's harsh.
He should be like that dude Hayner. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He looked way better. Like,
we're talking about the number 1 defense in the league, right? Like when it comes to who
and
he
Hayner.
plays.
Is his last name Hayner?
Yeah.
Rayner maybe, or is it Hayner?
It's Hayner.
Why can't I find him?
It's Haener.
Hae. All right, sleeper.
Hayner came in trash time and went 3 for 4 for 38 yards and threw a touchdown. But Spencer Rattler, would Hayner have been any better if he started the whole game? I doubt it. No, I don't think so.
He would have been way better. So. Like Spencer Rattler was taking way too much time going through his reads, being indecisive, making poor choices. Hayner, what we saw the first time that Carr went out, he came in and he's going through his reads much faster and making better decisions, in my opinion. That's why they did just quickly move the ball down the field and got into the end zone. Like, I know it was garbage time, but in my opinion, he looked like way better, getting the ball out quick, making, I mean, again, like, this is just until Carr gets back, but for fantasy's sake, I think that people will benefit from Haener in the meantime more than they would Rattler. But Rattler looked so bad in that game, and yeah, like, you can't just automatically credit them as best defense in the league because they're up there. They're not like a definitive no one's close to them, but like, they also did not have Patrick Surtain in that game, so like, it looked really bad. Also, the Saints defense looked terrible in that game too. So like,
but he didn't turn the ball over though. I mean, 25 for 35. That's not a bad game for 172 yards.
He fumbled the ball twice. Like, he got sacked and fumbled, and then they had a pick six, or they had a fumble 6 that got called back, and then he got sacked again and lost the ball, and then they got the
their O-line is atrocious too though. Like, I mean, we saw they couldn't run the ball at all either. Like, they couldn't do anything, and like, Alvin Kamara looked awful in this game, and it was like he had 6 receptions for 14 yards, 7 carries for 10 yards. Kendre Miller comes in 6 carries for 36 yards, and so it's just like, I don't know, I think it's tough. That's a really tough game to throw that kid into. I knew it was going to be rough, but I thought he would have done a little bit better. I thought he would at least score a touchdown, but I mean, yeah, I think it's just I think people are being really harsh on Rattler. We'll see if he plays horrible again, then I was wrong, but Alvin Kamara played horrible too, and I'm not saying Kendre Miller is the best running back on their team. You know what I mean? I just think it's a little...
Yeah, but Alvin Kamara is an established, like, monster who's like, he had an off game. Spencer Rattler is not the same as Spencer Rattler versus Haener. I don't know if it is Haener.
It is. I'm looking at it right now.
Why can't I find him on Sleeper?
Because he sucks.
Oh, Jake Haener. There we go.
Because he sucks. And he's not as good as Rattler. I'm just kidding.
Jake Haener versus Spencer Rattler is not the same conversation as Kendre Miller versus, like, this is actually two. Yeah. And so all I'm saying is he just looked like he was making his reads quicker.
Yeah, I got you.
But Spencer Rattler, other than the 2 fumbles, like, it really wasn't a bad game. 25 of 35, 172 is not great, but as far as efficiency goes, 25 of 35 is not the worst in the world. Yeah. 5 carries for 34 yards, like, that's solid on the ground. He's throwing to nobodies too, and like, in Rattler's defense, Jake Haener has 0 pressure coming into this game. Like, we're already dead in the water here, so I'm just going to go in there and ball. Like, that's all he has to worry about. So it's a little bit different versus Rattler, who's like, holy crap, I'm getting stomped. I fumbled the ball. Like, I've got to make up this somehow. And I think you get in your own head a little bit, but I get what you're saying for sure. Haener looked good when he came in. He got the ball down the field, scored really fast. But I just want to see more of Rattler. I mean, it's one game, and they played one of the top 5 defenses. And in a little bit in his defense, I think that I'm also gauging the entire game. That was so frustrating to watch. And first of all, the Denver Broncos defense is really good. So it's not like unfair to say, like, the best defense in the league. They could be, and I hope they are, because I have them in Dynasty. Like, got them for free off the waiver wire. But like, I'm judging Spencer Rattler's entire performance, and then I'm judging Haener's entire performance, and the sample sizes are very different. Yeah. The sample sizes are very different, and if you take away these 2 fumbles lost, that the game doesn't look that bad. Like, you need some touchdowns in there, but as far as just trying to move the ball, maybe I need to just chill a little bit, but that was a frustrating game to watch. The Saints defense is awful, for sure. Yeah, what is going on? Like
This is multiple times now that they've been just ran all over. And
yeah, because we were the breakout game for Sean Tucker that I was freaking out about. Everybody, you know, like the Buccaneers, it was just like, did you see what Sean Tucker did? And then you go and see the Broncos average like 10 yards a carry every running back they had, you know, like in that same. So it's like, oh, so that's maybe a big part of what's going on here. But it's weird to me though, because we saw Honey Badger ends up like getting like a gift thrown right to him and drops the ball. We had Lattimore left the game late in the game, but I don't know, were they dealing with a bunch of injuries on defense that game? I'm not sure.
I don't know if Chase Young and
Young played. Yeah, I think they both played.
Yeah, then I don't know. I think they're just that bad then. I mean,
right now.
Look at the Cowboys defense. Last year we were so locked in, and now we're just are getting ran over by every running back crew in the league right now, and it's just I'm like holding my breath because we got the Niners coming out of the bye. I'm like, obviously the Niners are beat up right now, but I can see a world where Jordan Mason just runs for like 100 and some odd yards on us and we lose this game. So I don't know. I'm not holding my breath on this year for the Cowboys. I'm hoping we can make it seem okay, but I think a lot of people got to go, starting with McDouble.
Yeah, I will say, I forgot to mention it, but I didn't think he'd be out here. But I see Javonte Williams is trending. I don't know if you mentioned him, but he did look really good. Once again, though, that is against the Saints, who might be the new, like, you know, you target the Saints for your running backs.
Yeah.
Them and the Cowboys and the Panthers, like, but he did look good. He looked like the best running back on the team. And then my boy Estime, I'm just like, man, I've been waiting. I you know, he's in my taxi. I just want to see him do good, but he comes out and he gets opportunities in this crazy situation where everybody looks good against the Saints, and he manages to fumble the ball. It's like, bro, come on.
That's like the third time he's fumbled this year too.
Yeah, man. Like Javonte's like kind of smirking on the sidelines, like not
today, buddy.
Not upset that happened. A little job security, but I think that covers just about everyone. Am I missing anyone on here?
I don't really think so. I've been kind of scrolling through. I don't see. I mean,
Mason Tipton is trending, but I don't think he's looked that good personally.
No, and not with those other names like Cedric Wilson and MVS coming in. I don't think he's going to be. I wouldn't go like too hard. You can get him if you want, but
yeah, there is a buzz about him, but yeah. I didn't think he looked great. I thought he was dropping a lot of passes. Like, sure, he was getting targets, but
I would just rather go pick up someone like Troy Franklin, who's on the wire too. Like, go get Troy Franklin. Absolutely, he looks really good, and he's starting to get a lot more involved. And they're talking about getting these guys involved, so that's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that that's the plan. Is they want to see what they've got in these rookies, and they also want to just develop them and get them more reps. So I like Troy Franklin a lot too. Like, he looked pretty solid. 6 targets, 5 receptions, 50 yards, grabbed a touchdown last week. All right, I think that covers everybody.
2 hours in.
Oh geez, hopefully you can edit this down a little bit,
maybe.
But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Sorry it was so long. We just kind of got caught up talking.
Yeah.
But
basketball tonight.
Yep, basketball tonight. Really excited basketball's back. If you guys play, I mean, maybe some of you watch our picks show already, but if you guys play fantasy basketball, we already have our picks out for tonight. Yep. So we are so happy to be back to the NBA. We're going to be dropping picks videos every day of the week. So make sure you're subscribed. If you guys don't hate us after listening to us for 2 hours, give us a like. We appreciate you tuning in. Have a great night, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Backdoor Fantasy Sports Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop us a comment. You can also find us on all platforms at Backdoor FS.